Hi students, I'm Una.
And I'm Scott.
I'm a PTE teacher from the UK.
I'm also a PTE teacher from the UK.
And we've been helping students pass their exams for years.
And now we're excited to help you pass your exam too.
Welcome to the Swoosh English PTE podcast.
Let's get started. Hi everyone, and welcome to the PTE podcast here at Swoosh English. My name's Scott.
And my name is Una.
And today we're going to go through a listening task, multiple choice, single answer. So Una, how are you today?
I'm great. How are you, Scott?
I'm pretty good. I'm ready to get this podcast started and go through some useful listening tips for students who are watching this.
Yes, I'm doing the PTE exam. So today, as you said, we're doing listening, multiple choice, single answer. So let's look at a quick overview of what this task involves. So for this task, you will usually get 2 to 3 different questions within this item type. And the prompt length is usually of 30 to 60 seconds long.
Yes, so just be aware that the length of the prompt is it's fairly long, 30 to 60 seconds. You won't really get anything longer than that. So make sure that you're aware and take into account your time management for your time, including that prompt of 30 to 60 seconds.
Yes, and we do recommend that you spend about 30 to 60 seconds afterwards to look through the answer options and choose your answer, so no longer than that. Mm-hmm. So we're thinking really 2 minutes maximum for this task overall.
Yep.
And of course the listening section is the same as the reading section where you're not timed individually, so you just have to make the decision yourself to move on to the next task.
Yes.
And yes, what else for our overview? So this is an important point. The audio begins after 5 seconds. Mm-hmm. So you have 5 seconds in which to read that question and analyze the answer options. Of course, we're going to get into that in more detail when we look at our method today.
Of course. And how many prompts will you have to do for listening multiple choice single answer?
Yes, 2 to 3.
Oh yes, sorry. My listening skills are obviously fantastic today. 2 to 3
So we could talk about how many answer options you're likely to have. So usually 4 to 6 maximum, but usually 4.
Typically I've seen an awful lot will be 4. So 4 different types of answer options you'd have on the day of the test in each prompt.
And how is this task scored then?
So this task is scored simply correct or incorrect. So obviously if you get the answer correct, you've chosen the one correct answer, you get a point. If you choose the incorrect answer, you don't get a point. If you don't choose any answer at all, you also don't get a point as well.
Yes, exactly.
Is there negative marking for this task?
No negative marking for listening, multiple choice single answer. So that's good news.
Woohoo! So make sure you always answer no matter what. Even if you're not entirely sure, say for example there's 4 different answer options, then just blindly guess. Just go 1, 2, 3, 4. I pick this answer, I'm not sure. Or obviously if you're just weighing up your own opinions, the information you've evaluated, go for the one that makes the most sense to you.
Yeah, you might get lucky.
Yeah, lucky's good.
Who knows? But of course, we won't need to guess. We're going to have our method down, have our bank of vocabulary so wide that we will be able to understand everything that we hear in that recording.
The method is important, but also we're saying don't leave any question unanswered. You have nothing to lose.
Very good. So some questions, we'll just talk about our overall listening skills really, and some questions that really cause us to stop and think if we need more practice in certain areas.
So it's a good way for you to evaluate on your own listening skills, which obviously are very important for PTE, but going into this test yourself, even though you still obviously have a great idea of the method and the overview, you still need to make sure your listening skills are as refined as possible in order to
in general,
to ensure that you're up to speed for this task.
So let me ask, do you work in an English speaking environment? Mm-hmm. That is a wonderful way, if you do work with native English speakers or even other English speakers, do you work in that environment where you're always having to listen every day to people speak?
Exactly, because no two persons sounds the exact same, no two persons speaks the exact same speed or uses the same phrases or even uses the same formulated language. So it's good for you to get exposure to a variety of different English speaking situations and English speakers in order to improve your listening.
Yeah, so because on the exam or in the exam on the day, you might have a variety of different accents, even different paces at which people speak. Mm-hmm. I know, Scott, that where we come from, people say we speak incredibly fast.
Where do we come from?
Ireland, of course.
The north coast of Ireland.
So we speak so fast, some people tell us. We try to slow it down for this, so I hope that you can
Let's speak real slowly now. Is that going to be patronizing?
Don't take it too far, Scott. So, yes. Anyway, so there'll be a variety of different paces, a variety of different accents, and the more that you listen, perhaps in your working environment, that will really improve your listening skills.
Because unfortunately, not everyone will speak the Queen's English.
Yes, of course not.
Or sound like they're from New York, for example.
Yeah, so if you don't speak in an English-speaking environment, how often do you really practice your listening skills? Are you giving yourself ample opportunities in order to listen to different recordings? Do you listen to TED Talks, for example? Do you listen to podcasts? Do you watch movies and really listen in on what the speaker, the actor is saying? So how many opportunities are you giving yourself to practice your overall listening skills?
So Una actually gave a couple of really good examples there about how you can improve your listening skills in an academic purpose. It's also very useful that you do, for PTE, as well as listen to English generally, that you do focus on different academic topics. So obviously you can think about science topics, politics, history, finance, etc., etc. So make sure that you do get a wide variety of topics to listen to and listen to a variety of lectures.
Exactly.
Good way for you, obviously, to understand the structure of a talk that you might hear or a lecture, but also pick up on some of those really key phrases and lexis that you need for the various tasks.
Definitely.
It could come useful.
Add to your vocabulary. Through your listening, you add to your vocabulary. At the end of the day, the wider your vocabulary, then the better your listening skills are going to be, because you'll understand the words because you've heard them before.
Yes.
And yes, so when you are listening, can you listen for key words? So can you listen for those content words that perhaps the speaker is emphasizing? But don't forget that sometimes content words, keywords, are actually de-emphasized within the speaking. So don't get caught up in thinking, oh, it's only those really stressed words or the words where there's a rise in intonation that are the important ones. So don't get fooled into that. And then when you're listening, do different tasks. Ask yourself afterwards to summarize the text. And really, a really good thing would be to try and find transcripts of reading, of listening as well, so that you can read it afterwards and think, oh yeah, so I picked up that point and things like this.
A notable example of how you can do that is that TED Talks often provide transcripts for their lectures. So a good way for you to find exercises, which often have been also converted into English style exercises as well for your listening. So TED Talks are a great starting resource, as well as what we offer at Swoosh English as well.
Exactly. And whenever you are listening, it's a good idea to take notes sometimes, because a lot of the time during the listening tasks in the PTE exam, you're going to want to take notes because you only get to listen to that recording once.
Exactly.
So really, we're going to talk about that more throughout the podcast, but getting your note-taking skills down is crucial.
Okay, shall we start now looking at some of the different question types that you will have for multiple choice single answer for listening?
Yes, so we could start by saying that with our method, what is the first thing you do in that very useful 5 seconds? You analyze the question.
You analyze the question.
Yes.
Remember, you only have 5 seconds at the very, very beginning to analyze that question before the recording begins. So what I would do is, if you only have those 5 seconds and you do anything with those 5 seconds, is you get a good understanding about what the question is asking you to do. If obviously you are very efficient, you can obviously skim over your answer options and find some key words as well. But as we're going to discuss very soon, you want to ensure you've done that immediately, because you want to focus on your note taking during the listening itself.
Yes. So like you said, the question is so important. So what different kinds of questions can we see for this task, multiple choice single answer listening?
Exactly. So let's get into some of these different question types that you might have.
Yeah.
Like the reading test, obviously you will have a question which asks for true, false information, correct, incorrect information, information which is supported, and information which is not supported. So that's obviously cherry picking the information in the keywords and then understanding its context and then making your answer based on that.
So that's asking you a lot of the time to really listen out for those supporting details.
Yes.
That's going to come up, like different statistics, for example, getting down percentages, that kind of thing. So really listening for the supporting details throughout the recording is going to help you with that kind of question type. Hi all, we're going to grab a quick cup of coffee. While we're gone, go to pte.swishenglish.com and grab your free PTE starter course, a gift to get you started on your PTE preparation. That's pte.swishenglish.com for your free PTE starter course. Then we have listening for the main idea. So a lot of the time this is a question for this task. So what is the main idea that the speaker is trying to convey? What is the lecture mainly about? I've seen that a lot. So that's asking you to just give your idea of the gist.
So you might hear certain words being used again and again. Obviously, with those certain keywords that might actually relate to a gist, you compare those keywords with the answer options and go, okay, so for example, a lecture I did recently was on Fort Knox in the USA. So if you hear Fort Knox being used again, Fort Knox, you can more than likely assume that Fort Knox has something to do with the main idea and theme. So look at your answer options and think, okay, which one of these might be likely?
Of course.
And also, when are good points in the lecture to listen out for the main idea, Una?
So at the beginning, of course, whenever it's being introduced, your conclusion is a lot of the time going to refer again to a repetition of the main idea. So yeah, these are really good points to really make sure you focus in your listening. But of course, overall, we need to listen to the whole transcript.
Exactly.
A lot of the time, for the listening, when it comes to the main idea or main lecture, it will just, in the answer options, it will refer to like one particular point that was made, and it is a correct point that was made in the listening. But is it the main idea? Is it the overall theme? No, it's just one little point that was made, but it wouldn't convey the whole meaning of the text.
That's a great point to bring up.
Yeah.
Okay, let's now move on to our other question type, which is the writer's opinion. So it's a bit like the main theme style question, but there are some key differences. The main theme will appear prominent throughout the text. The writer's opinion obviously can appear throughout the text too, but there are certain areas and also certain lexis and language that might be used to indicate a writer's opinion. So you're looking for opinionative language. You're looking maybe something that might be a quote of something, especially in the listening itself.
Yeah.
Or
even different adjectives that the speaker has ended up including that actually give us some clue as to what they're thinking about it or how they feel about it, So they might not have explicitly said it or stated, my opinion, but the adjective is there that means, they think it is, not a good idea or something. Yeah.
So obviously the writer's opinion can appear throughout the text, but a good point to listen to would be near the end of the listening itself, for when that opinion might be given as a way of summarizing the lecture or the talk that is being given.
Yes, very good. Okay, and any other kinds of questions?
Well, we might have an implication style question too.
Yeah. And can you tell us more about that implication
question?
So
an implication question is unlike a true, false, yes, no, supporting, not supporting question where you have concrete evidence. An implication is an idea that has been suggested in the text.
Yes.
So like those other style of questions, the evidence will be there, but you're looking for language which suggests an implication. There might be an idea that's conveyed there.
That's a good word, suggests. I've seen questions where it's like, what does the writer suggest about this, And it's just like, what can be implied from what they said? Yeah. Okay, so those are the different kinds of questions.
Okay.
So that is going to be our step one then in relation to our method. Analysing that question, and if you have some time, looking over the answer options in order to get the keywords that you should then listen out for in the listening. But 5 seconds, it's a very short period of time, and really you just want to get yourself ready to listen to that recording.
Yes.
And pinch yourself. Are you listening? Are you really focused?
Are you good? Are you good to go?
Yes.
Fantastic. Okay. So also, before we move on to our method, I just want to say that when we're analysing that question, a very important thing to do is to analyse that first word. You have your W5 and your H word. So you have who, what, where, when, why, how, and maybe a which. There could be other varieties of questions because obviously that focuses in on the sort of thing we need to be listening to. Which, for example, is a thing. Who is a person? Where is a place?
Why,
when is a time?
What's a reason for this? Yeah, so that's going to give you a clue as to what you're listening for too. So what's step 2 then? Once that recording begins, what should we do during that recording?
So while we're recording, obviously you want to start listening and start taking down some notes immediately.
Note-taking.
So the note-taking process is very important for a variety of reasons. One, even though your memory might be great, you might have a photographic memory. You're listening for 30 to 60 seconds, and in those 30 to 60 seconds, it's very, very easy for you to forget the information. Yes, you might have the key words, but you might not be able to remember all the information which links these key words together.
Yeah.
So it's important that you're taking down notes and either writing down directly what the relationship is or using abbreviations, symbols to denote those key relationships and ideas. Because after all, the answer options aren't making you focus on the keywords, but you're focusing on the idea that's being conveyed. So similarly, you also need to be aware of the idea that's being conveyed in the lecture.
Yes, definitely. Taking down notes is important, I think. You're only going to get to listen to that recording once. So you want to be able to refer back to the notes that you made and make sure that you don't write full sentences. That might seem obvious, but you just won't have time. And if you do start writing full sentences, you're not going to be listening properly. You're not going to be listening properly to what is being said as it continues. And that's a key thing to note too. It's easy to, as you're taking notes, sort of stop listening to the next part while you're still taking notes from the part that just finished. So you need to really practice your note-taking skills while you're listening. Can you still maintain that level of concentration with everything that's being said while also taking notes, as you're going through? So yeah, like 2 to 3 words in a phrase is usually enough. And you were saying there about taking down abbreviations and, even using symbols. It's really important you get your note-taking style down because, you want it to be in an organized fashion. When you go back to it, imagine you just were really confused by what you'd written. Sorry, what does that mean? What does that word refer to? Make sure that if you do use abbreviations, for example, that you actually know what it means then.
It does make it very difficult then for you to decipher that language and then refer to the question if you don't know exactly what the abbreviations mean or even what the ideas are. So taking down essential notes is important. There are a lot of different note-taking styles. People might obviously abbreviate words in certain ways. You might make use of certain symbols. I suggest you do your own research in your own time and find a system which works for you. But the important thing is that you're not taking down the words and sentences in long form. You're making them as simple and concise as possible.
Definitely, yeah. And what kind of words would you take down during the notes?
Well, for example, you might hear a number. You can denote that by NO. You might hear a certain type of number. It could be a percentage. You write the percentage symbol. You might hear a currency. You write the currency symbol.
So just even the important content words.
Yes.
So like people, places, maybe events, statistics, things like that.
Yes.
Yeah, and their relationships. So that's really good tips for our note taking. So I have heard before as well, Scott, I'm going to see what your opinion is about this, when students think that they shouldn't take notes and they should simply just skim their eyes over the answer options as they are listening. So what do you think of that as an approach to take?
Well, it really depends on the student and how effective that works for them. Personally, I wouldn't recommend it because even though you might be answering the question as you go along, you might not be able to pick out that information from a first listening. And then obviously while you're answering the question, you're not listening to the nuances of the text or even to know when a new idea might be coming. So it's important that you are obviously able to answer the question based on notes, not just memory as well.
I would probably recommend that as well. At the end of the day, if you find that one particular method works really well for you, that's fine. But I would recommend taking some notes so that you do, if your memory fails you, you do have some notes there to refer back to.
It might work for you. You might have absolutely fantastic memory, able to answer the question that way. So my recommendation is, in your practice time, try both methods and see which one you're getting the best results with.
Exactly. Good idea. Okay, so any final tips then for today?
I guess I'll say that, remember, it's very important that while you are answering the question, that you're not just obviously ascertaining the correct answer, you're also able to refer to your notes and find the information which actually manages to eliminate the other answers too. So even though obviously there's no negative marking for this task, therefore if you answer it correctly, you get a point. If you don't answer it correctly, you just get 0 points. It's still obviously good to be able to eliminate the incorrect answers just to increase the chances of likelihood of you getting the answer correct to be correct. So make sure you use those notes and you simultaneously read the answer options and make your assumption that way.
Yes, definitely. And make sure, like in other multiple choice tasks, you don't fall for simply selecting something based on the keyword. Make sure that you listen carefully around that keyword for key points and select your answers based on key points that have been made. And don't forget to listen out for synonyms of keywords that could arise. And of course, you will be benefited in this aspect by having a wide range of vocabulary. So making sure that you know a lot of synonyms for different words.
Exactly. So paraphrasing is also very important, as Una said. Make sure that you don't just listen to your answer options in the same formulaic way as you might hear it in the recording. The sentences could be reformulated. The idea might be expressed a different way. So just be aware about that while you're listening. You're not going to always or even often see the answer as it's written. That would be very easy.
Yeah. And do lots of timed practice, do lots of listening practice in your own time. Build up your range of vocabulary and make sure that you are efficient with your time management for this task.
So remember, you have 2 minutes for this task in total. Just make sure that obviously you take into account the recording itself, which is between 30 and 60 seconds. So if the recording is 30 seconds, you do obviously then have up to 90 seconds then to answer. If the recording is 60 seconds, then you only have up to 60 seconds to answer.
But of course, if you can answer it faster, then go for that and move on.
As long as you're doing it, as long as you're doing it correctly.
As long as you're giving yourself the best opportunity to do it correctly.
So make sure that you do it that way. Also remember that this task isn't weighed as heavily as other listening tasks. So if you are able to do this task in a quick manner, then give yourself some extra time for the other tasks. Obviously, we recommend 2 minutes per task, but you might obviously be very quick at doing multiple choice single answer, but slower at doing fill in the blanks, for example. So use your time according to what works for you, but make sure that it's not automatic, the time and the progress of the test. You have to manually go through the options by yourself. And also, a final tip I would recommend would be just get lots of different practice in the different types of sub-questions. Make sure you're able to easily you're able to effectively do a main theme or topic question. You're able to find true, false answers, yes, no answers, supportive, not supportive answers.
Yeah.
You're able to locate the texts, the parts of a passage in which a writer's opinion might be expressed. You know the language which denotes an opinion, and also you're able to assess and find implications where they're made as well.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Look at those different sub-questions and make sure that you're able to, listen out for each different one.
Yeah. And focus on the question words too. Who, what, where, when, why, how, which, etc. Just make sure you are aware and you're able to quickly ascertain what that style of question is asking you to do. Just make sure listening more effective will just make everything run and flow so much smoother for you.
Okay, so thanks so much, guys, for joining us today. I hope you got some really good tips, and we'll see you again soon.
Okay, and also I want to say, anyone's doing the PTE test anytime soon, I wish you the best of luck in that test itself for multiple choice single answer for the listening, as well as the other sections too. Thanks for watching today.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Are you struggling with your PTE exam preparation? Are you unsure how to get that score of 65, 79, or even 90? Let us help you get there. Please go to pte.swooshenglish.com and enter discount code PTE10 in order to receive 10% discount on any course.